This is not a high-tech classroom or even a video arcade. It's the software test room at Electronic Arts. And these kids aren't playing games, they are testing game software. After all, who knows more about entertainment software than kids? Something magical happens when you put a child in front of a computer screen. And today we're going to explore that magical connection as we look at computers and kids on this edition of the Computer Chronicles.
Computer Chronicles has been made possible in part by PC Connection and Mac Connection, mail-order software and hardware peripherals for the PC and the Macintosh, and the Software Publishers Association, providers of educational materials to help manage software. Don't copy that floppy.
Welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stewart Cheifet, and with me this week is Mimi Lee, a 6th grader at St. Veronica's School in South San Francisco. And Mimi, you're not only a student in the 6th grade, you're actually a software beta tester for the Learning Company.
Yes.
All right, what do they ask you to do? What do you do for them?
Basically, before the program comes out in the stores, they ask me to test their program from the beginning till the end, and to see if they have any bugs, problems, or spelling errors.
Did you find any mistakes when you were testing this one?
Well, not really. Most of them are fine, except sometimes the game would black out in the middle or something.
A little crash here and there. All right, this is one of the games you worked on called Operation Neptune, and tell us what you do here.
Well, right now I'm a submarine, and my station is signaling me that there's a problem, and they want to know the input of the sub's average speed for the last 6 log entries.
So you've got to read that graph.
Yeah, so I'll start with the 215s for number 5 entry and number 6 entry, that's 30. Then number 4 is 10, that's 40. Then number 1 is another 10, so that's 50. Number 2 is 20, so that's 70. And then number 3 is 5,
Okay,
so that's
so you're
75.
adding them all up, we're going to find the average speed.
Yes.
So it's 75.
Then divided by 6, and you get 12.5.
Okay, so let's see if 12.5 is the right answer. So we've got to solve this math problem.
5?
Okay.
All right.
So now we can get to play the game?
Yes.
And what are we doing here?
I'm that orange submarine on the screen, and I have to try to...
These little bad fishy guys are going to attack you?
Yes. I try not to get hit.
Uh-oh, just like you did there.
Yeah, I lose energy and oxygen when I get hit.
Yeah,
so basically, I try to get through everything without getting hit. But here, I'm at the end now. Well, not the end, but the end of the first sector.
And then you would get to solve another problem?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty neat. All right, we are going to take a look at what kids can do with computers today. We'll meet several youngsters from age 9 all the way up to 14 and see the computer programs they have developed. Now, if you think kids and computers means Apple IIs in a classroom with 1980s software, think again. We're going to begin with a visit to one middle school that's running a national bulletin board for science students.
These students at Foothill Middle School in Walnut Creek, California, are sharing their experimental data with other students around the country via the National Geographic Kids Network, a computer bulletin board created by and for science students.
The kids find out that other kids who are doing the same types of things are getting the same kind of information, and so they're getting a reinforcement that they don't get just from their teacher, from me.
The 6th graders in Mr. Parrish's class are studying water pollution. These 8th grade students are doing an experiment on temperature measurement using a collection of HyperCard stacks called the eLab, or the Electronic Laboratory Notebook.
Before the computers, they were spending so much of their time doing the kind of mundane setup, not the science, but just those things that require setup, watching a thermometer, watching a clock. And it wasn't until we got the computers into the classroom that I saw the kids begin to focus on what was happening in science rather than setting up the lab and just doing those kind of busy work type things.
But how does using the computer affect what and how the children learn? Does it simply turn them into data entry technicians? The teacher says no.
The computer, I think one of the things that it does is it allows the kids to explore their own ideas more, since they're not confined to a certain set of equipment. When they're on the computer, they're doing their processing, they're thinking through their writing, it allows them that chance to go back and reprocess. They can regraph their data, they can change the axes, they can look at it from different ways. So I think it makes them more creative.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Maria Gabriel.
and children still in elementary school are developing innovative software. Here to show us their programs, our fourth grader, Stephanie Grush. And you're how old, Stephanie?
9.
Okay, and also with us, Kimiko Sakuma, and you are in what grade?
6.
And how old?
11.
11 years old. And also with me over here is Greg Olszewski. And Greg, you're in 5th grade, and how old?
11.
Okay, so we've got 9, 11, and 11 here. All right, I want to ask each of you, before you show me your software, Stephanie, what is it about computers that you find so interesting? I mean, why do you spend your time playing with computers?
I like the kinds of things that you can make them do, and sometimes I like years later to come to my stack and look at it and
Years later.
When I've forgotten what it is all about.
And how about you, Kimiko? Why do you like to play with computers?
Well, there's so much information in a computer, and every day you learn something new, so it's like a new adventure for you to take.
Sounds pretty good to me. And Greg, what would your answer be?
I enjoy programming games on the computer that I play afterwards.
So you like to play the games you've written yourself?
Yes.
Not depend on all these other professional guys to write all these games for you. All right, Stephanie, I want to go back to you, and you wrote a stack in HyperCard, and I want you to show it to us and tell us what it does.
Well,
Go ahead.
this is the First Light Times Table stack. And
Uh-huh.
so when you open it up, it says, "Welcome to First Light Times Tables. Click on the teacher to begin."
Okay.
So I'll click on the teacher. It's labeled teacher.
Okay, so what's this?
This is the teacher card. You see it has a white background.
Mm-hmm.
And it
And
quizzes you.
these examples we have to do, like 5 times 2?
Yeah, for instance, if I do 5 times 2,
Okay.
put in 10,
We say
and
okay.
say, okay.
Right.
It says right.
Okay.
And now, if you get one wrong,
Okay, 4 times 2, that's pretty wrong.
yeah, and
Wrong.
sorry, that's wrong.
Okay.
And it'll give you a chance to say, what is it? And so I'll click on that button, and it says 8,
Ah, so it tells you what the right answer is. Okay.
if you want to know.
So what's the blackboard part of it? I see it, and
Yes, this takes you to the
yeah.
blackboard. So go to the blackboard, and
Uh-huh.
I'll click OK.
and what is
And
this now?
This lets you practice. You'll notice it has a gray background for the blackboard.
Yeah.
And then, like, I'll click on 3 times 3, 9.
Oh, so you can practice. These
8
are the
times
answers
8,
for you before you go take the
64,
test.
10 times
Okay.
10, 100.
All right. All right, what's memory exercise? What is that part?
Well, that's where you click on these
Oh,
covers.
I see. You got to remember real fast what's under those covers.
And then you do quiz.
Quiz. Okay, what
and
was under
you,
cover 1?
So
I bet you know the answer.
write it.
So that was a flower.
And then it says
You're
right.
Okay,
And the
I
next
see.
one says right.
Uh-huh. A diskette.
Right. And
Okay, what
I'll
was
just
under
get this
4?
last one wrong.
Okay.
So I'll say H, G, 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 G,
Yeah,
G.
yeah.
And say
Wrong.
wrong.
All right, Stephanie, I want to ask you to slide the keyboard and the mouse over to Kimiko because I want her to get her stack running. And while you're doing that, let me just ask you a question, Stephanie. I mean, you not only are playing with HyperCard, you actually learned the scripting language in HyperCard, right? How did you do that?
Well, after we had just learned what HyperCard was, I
Yeah.
went in and looked at the scripts that I saw in other people's stacks.
Yeah.
That's how I learned. I just played around with that.
So nobody taught you, just sort of poked around and saw what kind of languages, what kind of words they use to make their stack?
Yeah.
Okay, Kimiko, now show us what you have and what you developed in your stack.
Okay.
Okay, what is this?
This is a duck,
Okay.
and it's gonna swim across the water.
Uh-huh.
Quack, quack,
And it says quack, quack.
quack.
Yeah.
This program was created by the UMass. This is the Casey's ABC game.
All right, would you tell us why and how you wrote this stack, Kimiko?
Well, I did this stack because I got interested from one of my mom's friends,
Uh-huh.
and she works at DCCG,
Mm-hmm.
Technology Resources for People with Disabilities,
Uh-huh.
and her friend taught me how to do HyperCard.
Uh-huh.
And so I thought of doing a HyperCard stack for my brother so he could learn his ABCs.
Okay, so this is what you wrote for your brother to learn his ABCs.
Yes.
Okay, show us how it works.
Okay, you can pick any letter, A through
Uh-huh.
Z, and let's say we clicked on D.
This is letter D.
Okay, so it tells us the letter.
And there are
there
three-
are things that begin with D.
Yeah, and you can pick with, let's say, dolphin,
Mm-hmm.
D is for dolphin.
and then do a quick
And then
animation.
that animation too. Oh, that's great. And does your brother actually use it?
Yeah,
Huh. And how long did it take you to write all this? I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here.
Well, it took me about 2 years, and I'm still not finished with it because I'm still adding new things to it.
What's the nursery rhymes button you have down there?
I just thought of doing a nursery rhyme, and it's supposed to be Jack Be Nimble.
Yeah.
And
oh, so you're sort of animating a nursery rhyme. Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack jumped over the candlestick.
And then so he turned on the light bulb.
Okay. All right, Greg, it's your turn now, and you've got a lot of credits on this stack. What is this thing? Tell me about what the California Geography Project is.
I, with 8 other people, we each selected an aspect of California and did a hypercard stack about it.
Okay.
I chose music, but other people chose things like art, baseball, and physical geography.
Now, this is a pretty big program you wrote, too. And what's the size of this program you wrote?
I think it's about 1 megabyte.
Wow. Okay, so show us how it works.
Well, I looked up each group I could find in the Encyclopedia of Rock and Roll, and then I classified them by city.
So these are where the different cities in California where these groups came from. So you had Grateful Dead.
The Grateful Dead.
And if you click on Grateful Dead, what happens?
It takes me to a screen of them. And using the Mac recorder, I recorded a clip of music.
Wow. So you put the clip inside the program, you scanned in a picture, you've got the names of the people. So this is just this big database of California music groups, huh?
Yep.
Okay,
and
so show some other ones.
Los Angeles, I found Beach Boys. They were one of my favorite groups. And I also got a picture for them.
All right, now Greg, do you only play around with the Mac and work in HyperCard, or do you work with other computers?
I also work on the IBM a lot.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I like to. I'm trying to get a bulletin board to run.
Oh yeah, to do what?
To have people call and download software and play games, but it's not working quite yet.
You going to run your own computer company when you grow up?
If I'm lucky.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you all, Stephanie and Kamiko and Greg. All right, while grown-ups are still trying to define multimedia, some middle school students in Hillsborough, California are using multimedia to develop classroom materials.
These 7th and 8th grade students are using computers in class as part of their television arts curriculum. Before computers, it was unlikely that a middle school could afford the technology to run its own TV studio. But with low-cost Apple IIs and Macs, this class is now running a complete Super VHS studio and post-production center.
The goal of our program is that, one, students come out of here with a real awareness of the video world, that it sort of demystifies the process of visuals and text. And secondly, that students gain a little bit more of a critical eye, that when they look at something on television, they know it's not just magic.
No thanks, I'll just stay home and do my homework or something.
The students use the older Apple IIs as word processors for their scripts. They shoot material on standard VHS camcorders, and then they edit the tapes using a Macintosh 2 SI as a controller. The students here at Crocker School not only shoot and edit, but also create their own titles and animations on the computer using software like Macromind Director.
Students love the computers. I find that as soon as I turn on the animation program, the students go right there and forget about shooting. Same with computers in our classrooms. If there's one computer in the classroom, it just doesn't seem to be enough.
The class plans to eventually produce programs that will air on the local cable access channel. But the teacher says the real point in the multimedia class is to teach students to be critical thinkers and intelligent viewers. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Maria Gabriel.
There are some teenagers who do more than just watch MTV and make a mess of their rooms, and we have living proof right here. This is Nathan Hickson, and Nathan, you're an 8th grader?
Yes, I am.
And Cupertino, and how old are you?
14.
Okay, there's a real teenager, and this is Brian Larson, and what grade are you in, Brian?
7th.
And how old?
12.
Okay, and back with us is Mimi Lee, and as I recall, you were a 6th grader.
Yes.
And how old, Mimi?
11.
Okay, I want to ask you guys what I asked the kids in the first segment before. What is it about computers that makes it so worthwhile? I mean, there's all these things for a kid to do. You can play ball, watch TV, do with music, and yet you guys spend a lot of time with a computer. Why, Nathan?
Well, I spend a lot of time on my computer because I think it's very fun, and it teaches me lots of new things, and I use my computer for many things like homework and all kinds of different stuff.
So you actually use it besides playing around with it
Yeah.
and developing things. How about you, Brian?
Well, I use it to stop from being bored and to keep my brother from being bored. I've got this series of stacks called Your Next Life, which is supposed to predict what you're going to be in your next life.
Oh, and you're predicting it for your brother.
Yeah.
What's it going to be,
or
a tree?
My whole family.
Or your whole family. Okay.
Yeah.
And Mimi, what about you? What's so interesting about computers?
Well, I think computers are really interesting and educational, and while I'm learning stuff from the computer, it's also fun.
You just like to play with it?
Yes.
You guys all play games with computers? Is that part of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got one game.
Me too. Okay. All right, Nathan, let's start with you. And you're in junior high school, and you developed a stack about ecology. First of all, tell me the story of why you wrote this.
Okay, we wrote this because we're trying to teach students like around our age why it's good to recycle and why they need to recycle. And it's basically just trying to encourage us to recycle.
Okay.
And it's directed actually towards all age groups, but mainly to our age group.
All right, so this was part of a school project, right?
Yeah.
All right, show us then how your program works.
Okay, how it works is it's just a HyperCard stack, and it's got a basic outline. And as an example, we'll go to aluminum. And we got these pictures. They were scanned in with a scanner.
A bunch of aluminum cans, and then you had your choices on the right there.
And then there's 4 choices. Tell me about it. It tells you about aluminum, and it just goes through a description of aluminum, how it's mined, why is it easier to recycle it, and then you can go to what's the problem. And in what's the problem, it tells why we need to recycle it, because if we don't recycle it, there's going to be lots of problems. And it just gives a whole bunch of facts about why we need to recycle aluminum.
Right.
And then under who cares, there's companies that care about aluminum. They want you to recycle it, and they help you and all kinds of stuff. And then you can add that to your resource list at the end of the stack, and then go back to aluminum, and then let's recycle. And it tells about how to make what's called a don't chuck it bucket. And you click on step 1, and it goes through, you can click on each step, and it tells you how to make the bucket. And then, as another example, we'll go to glass, and it has another picture. And you can go to the 4 choices again. We'll go to who cares again, and there's more different resources. Add it to your list, and go back to glass. Oh, and also, you can go to, after you add all these different companies, go to your resource list, and there they all are, ready to copy into a word processor to print out, so you can write letters to them and stuff.
Okay, do you have a sort of game in there you wrote also, didn't you?
Yeah, we have a game. It's called the Quick Cure.
Okay.
And wouldn't it be nice if we could just get rid of these problems by clicking on them? Go ahead, try it. Okay, I'll try to get rid of them.
You don't?
No. Doesn't seem to go away, does it?
So what's the moral of the story?
Give up. It doesn't really work, does it? It's the same in real life. We can't just make them go away. Ecology takes action.
It takes a little work, not just clicking on some mouse button, huh?
Yeah.
All right, Nathan, I want to ask you to slide the mouse over to Brian, and while you're setting up Brian, Mimi, if you were the beta tester here for Nathan's software program, what did you think of that? What would you tell him?
Well, I'd say that'd be really interesting, and that really could get teenagers to really think about it.
So it's a good way to get kids involved in understanding the whole ecology thing. All right, now, Brian, you wrote something about Picasso, and why Picasso? I mean, it's unusual for somebody who's into computers to also be into art.
Well, I wrote it on Picasso because I had to pick a famous person, and I'm kind of into art.
Oh, good.
And just looking, our teacher gave us a list of names of who we could do, and I saw Picasso, and I said, why not?
Okay, so show us how your stack works.
Okay, so we're on the title page here. And you can learn how to use this stack. Go to HyperCard Home, to the menu, or to the introduction. And we'll go to the introduction, and the introduction just tells basically about Picasso. And then you go to the menu, and from the menu you can pick a topic to go to. And then here we'll just pick Cubism. And then here's a scanned-in image which I scanned in, and it tells a little bit about his Cubism period. Here's some more pictures. And here's another picture, and you can pick after you're done with all this.
So you scanned all these in?
Yeah. And then you can pick where you want to go from here, but I'm going to go to the menu. And then once you're in the menu, you can pick different places. And I'm going to Special Reports. Okay, and this is 3 musicians, and that's one of the paintings Picasso did. He's got 2 of them. This is another version. And then this is Guernica, which he painted after news of the Germans bombing the town of Guernica. And you can see all the violence in there. And this is Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, which means the ladies of Avignon. And he was inspired by Paul Cézine's Bathers. Okay, we'll go back to the menu now. And then here we go to pictures. Here's a picture of Picasso. And then here's one of his bullfights, which he did was when he was like really little. So it's pretty good for a little kid. And here's another one. And then this is Vive la, which he painted when he heard news of Germany declaring war on France in World War I. And he painted Vive la and then France's flag underneath it. And Vive la means long live, and then France's flag, so he wants long live France, even though he's born in Spain. He spent most of his life in France. That's my stack.
Now, Brian, you said you do some of this stuff to keep from being bored. What about learning? I mean, it sounds like a pretty neat, unboring way to learn about Picasso. Did you learn about it by, in fact, writing the software?
Usually, when I do regular reports, I don't. I just type it out to get rid of it. I mean, just to do it. And for this, I actually had fun doing it. Even though it was report. And would other kids in your class then use the stack and also learn from that? My teacher said she'll use it in the future to because this is the first time she's ever had kids do HyperCard, and she'll just give this as an example. What do your parents think about all the time you spend with computers? Mimi, what do your parents say to you?
My parents think when I'm playing games that it's just a waste of time. But when I'm doing something educational and something fun for me, they think that's really good instead of like going outside and playing baseball or getting hurt or something. It's much safer and it's more fun and educational.
What about your house, Nathan?
Well, my parents think I spend too much time on the computer, but I don't really think so. And they're kind of like it whenever I do homework and educational stuff. And they think it's a waste of time again when I do games.
And Brian, you?
Well, I don't really do any games on the computer.
Really?
Well, we've got one game, but I'm kind of bored with that right now. And but right now I'm just making this game for my brother because I was bored with the other game, and so is he. And I can't get on the computer because it's tax time, and my dad's doing the taxes are on his computer, so I'm not getting much time on it.
All right, you'll be getting your computer back soon, I'm sure of that, Brian. Nathan and Brian and Mimi, thank you all very much for being here. That is our look at computers and kids. Stay tuned now for this week's Computer News on Random Access.
In the Random Access file this week, this is a special summer edition with the focus on software. Here are last week's best-selling software titles for the Macintosh, according to Mac Connection. Managing Your Money is #1, followed by After Dark 2.0, the Excel 4.0 upgrade, Norton Utilities, and Auto Doubler. Rounding out the top 10 are After Dark and the More After Dark bundle, the System 7 upgrade, Quicken, and the Word 5.0 upgrade, and Disk Doubler. Next up, Paul Schindler and our summer software review.
Instead of our usual software, let's take a look at a piece of hardware that makes color software look good, the Toshiba 4400. It only weighs 7 pounds, much less than previous color notebook computers. Note there's no power cord. This machine runs for up to 3 hours on its battery. Until now, your choice was poor color and batteries or good color and an AC cord. Now you can get good color and battery operation. Finally, get a load of this color. It may be hard to tell at home, but this is terrific color, better than many desktop machines. The Toshiba T4400 SXC is a pricey $8,000, but if you need 256 colors to make your point portably, it's the best way to go. It can replace your desktop machine. It comes from Toshiba America in Irvine, California. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Paul Schindler.
That's it for this week's Computer Chronicles. I'm Janelle Stelson.
Computer Chronicles has been made possible in part by PC Connection at Mac Connection, mail-order software and hardware peripherals for the PC and the Macintosh, and the Software Publishers Association, providers of educational materials to help manage software. Don't copy that floppy.
Video cassette copies of this program are available. Computer Chronicles also publishes a companion newsletter containing details on products demonstrated, plus background information on program topics. To order a video cassette or a subscription to the newsletter, call 1-800-366-9484 or write Computer Chronicles. Please specify program subject for tapes. All orders include a free software program for auditing software use.